Okay, lovely. Yeah. So, shall I start? So we, how do we tap into the ocean to help raise the world out of the state of negativity and into a more positive experience?
So that's a very good question. It's actually two questions. How do we tap into the ocean using deep energy transformation, and how does it really help the world? So the first thing is stress, issues, blocks. They're not very useful in experiencing becoming one with the ocean. Uh, the ocean is so subtle. Just experiencing peace, which is a level of energy. Uh, just experiencing peace is not the easiest thing for most people.
No, no. And the more people who can, that peace could radiate outwards.
Yes.
Am I
So
right?
peace is, yes, exactly. So peace is a level of energy. Deeper than peace is silence. Then there's quite a few levels. There's some celestial levels. And then you get to finally to a very profound level uh, that is called infinite love, actually. But that's still not even the ocean. So just getting to peace, if there's some kind of anxiety, if there's some kind of worry, there's something getting in the way, you won't experience peace. And
No,
and certainly
no,
not silence, and certainly not
no.
deeper than silence, certainly not the celestial level, certainly not infinite love, and certainly not the ocean. So the whole idea behind deep energy transformation is for me to just take on your stress, your issues quickly. Boom. Let me take it on. It's gone. Um, then can you imagine you meet someone who has been in the Himalayas for 50 years in a cave, meditating, let's say 18 hours a day, and they had reached such a profound level within them over those 50 years. So they come out of the cave, they come out of the Himalayas, they come out of India, and they come here to the United States. And I teach that person how to give the energy of who they are to somebody else.
I see.
And actually, I have actually done that. Somebody very, very profound levels of samadhi over the 50 years that they've been meditating. Sometimes it was in India, but I taught them how to give that to somebody else. And we did a session where I had them give that energy to his wife. And his wife, the whole day went magically. It just was magic. Everything was so nice, and she felt so good. It's not permanent because you need me to do so many sessions where I get rid of so much stress and issues and open up the system before it becomes permanent. But the idea, though, is very real that you can give that energy that somebody spent decades culturing to somebody else. So you can kind of imagine that that's kind of what I'm doing, but from a very profound level within the ocean, I'm giving that to people. And it
Oh,
opens up their energy centers. There are many, many. It's not just seven. And this is what I really mean by a person becoming who they truly are. Because you have no idea who you really are. You have no idea. So
Can
now,
you tell who someone really is when you work?
actually, in the initial energetic evaluation that I do, the very first session, I can tell, yes, what your strengths and weaknesses are. And I can tell who you really are. Yes, I can.
Oh,
Usually, I don't like to go too deep because they're just coming to me for the first time. And so I tell them, not the deepest things at the very beginning, but later on, I often do. So that is the story behind the ocean, tapping into it using deep energy transformation. But what about the world? Well, it turns out that the deeper you go, if you go to peace, that's a nice level. Silence is even deeper, celestial levels, the ocean, deeper in the ocean. The deeper you go, actually, the more powerful it is on a logarithmic scale. Incredibly powerful. It doesn't take 100 million people experiencing samadhi to change the world, to experience that state of the absolute. Uh, it doesn't take very many people at all to change the world if they're going deep within the ocean. So that's what I'm most passionate about. That's my deepest goal, is to really bring this big, and here's the reason it works, you see, and you alluded to it just a few minutes ago, that when you experience it yourself, when different energy centers are opened and you are open to that reality, open to that profound level of energy, that energy then just doesn't stay with you. I mean, you're here on Earth and it has an effect. It's equally beneficial for the world as it is for you, actually. But it all depends on the level at which you are stationed, your baseline, actually. So we could talk about that for a very long time, but do we have time for another question?
um, what do you envision for the future of society and the world? I know that's in general, but
So I can tell you this. The intuition is really open, it's very open. And I can tell so much about an individual and their past, actually. But we're now, even though there's a lot of problems in the world, I hope that the people who are watching this video will keep an open mind to what I'm about to say, an open heart to what I'm about to say. But the earth has been rising very rapidly on these deeper levels. And the earth is really not the same. On the surface, there's a lot of craziness, but just below the surface, there has been huge, incredible rise in energy. It's already happening and has been happening for years. And it's about to come onto the surface. We could say that, like right now, it's really on the crux of really coming onto the surface.
that's
So I
wonderful.
was referring to my intuition. So my intuition is telling me that I cannot know this future because we cannot even imagine where the world is moving toward or rising. into. You can't even imagine it. So there's no sense in using your intuition to look into the future.
Mhm.
But I can tell you this, we're wanting to use deep energy transformation for criminal offenders. And we have the director of a very large alternative sentencing program in New York City who is very interested in using deep energy transformation. So just in terms of criminal justice, I see huge, huge potential. And then we've used deep energy transformation for an individual with autism, bipolar disorder, who is violent, living in an institution, and there was remarkable improvements very quickly. So we want to bring DET for developmentally disabled people, for mentally ill people. There's so many, and trauma. There's so many people who've been traumatized. And
Yes.
I know with clinical experience, through clinical experience, that DET works incredibly well for trauma, anxiety, depression that so many people suffer from. So if you look at it from that viewpoint, yeah, if we really use DET, we can make a huge impact with those problems. But to really look into the future, as far as I'm concerned, we can't even imagine what's going to happen, which is a little bit different than most people feel these days. I have to acknowledge that. And at a risk of sounding a little bit too optimistic, based upon all my clinical experience, and there are quite a few of my clients who I brought to very deep levels of the ocean. And so I can tell you very clearly, with great confidence, based upon these individuals at very advanced levels, that we are just beginning an incredible, incredible new experience for this earth.
That's wonderful. I have heard that the earth itself is a living being. And maybe
That
it's
that that is more on the, that's certainly not the level of the ocean, but the earth as a living being, of course, is a living being. The solar system is
so
a living being, and the galaxy is a living being. A living being. Um, but we want to go to such a deep level that the earth will be so happy, and will become so healthy. Um, but I'm at risk now of sounding too much to handle, to really grasp or to accept. So, um, but yes, the potential is huge. The deeper you go within
yeah.
your own self and discover the
I,
world inside you.
I think what you're saying, like if more people had their issues resolved and they became their real selves, that the way they would be in the world would be, it would improve the world.
For sure. For sure. On the surface, with their ability to provide more beautiful art, or to be a better doctor, or to be a better caretaker, but on deeper levels also,
Yeah.
it would have a very powerful effect.
Well, this is very encouraging because that would be, I think most of us would like to see the world be a better place.
That's my only real passion.
I think I share that passion.
Very
Like to
good.
see the best in people and try to, the see how people can be their best selves.
It's one thing to experience this for yourself. but I'm training others to give this to other people.
Yes, and I think that's so beneficial because, it's going to take more than just one or two people.
That is so true. That is so true. And
Although,
we,
if you say, sorry,
no,
go,
I was
you
just
go.
going to say that I've trained about 12 people, and we've done about 24 sessions with these 12 people, and every single one was successful. Um, there are different techniques of DET that these individuals I've trained can provide, but every single session was very successful. And the remarkable thing is the energy specialist who I trained, who did the session, I was also involved, they had more profound experiences than the ones who were the recipients. So
Ah,
it's in fact a kind of an advanced technique to give energy to others because you always gain much more than the person you're giving the energy to.
yeah, so I think like better to give than to receive.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's see what I could come up with here. Okay, this could turn us in a little different direction, but you may have some good insights on this. Do you sense any reticence or even fear in some patients before beginning DET? Like maybe the criminal or those with the most um, need, do they feel fearful?
So I'll answer that in the following way. There are very severe alcoholics who are also drug addicts who have come to me, and I'm sure there's some skepticism, but from the very beginning, from the very first session, they relax during the session and they feel better afterwards, and they want more.
Yes.
Um, so there are schizophrenics who say, yes, I do feel better from the session that you just gave. I may not, work on them for an hour. It might only be the very first time, maybe 15 minutes. But I'm now up to 30 minutes with this one schizophrenic. Um, and there are those that have, a lot of negative thoughts all the time. And certainly negativity must be at the root of a lot of the thinking of criminals, uh, and of mental illness, etc. And we've been extremely successful at getting rid of these negative thoughts. In fact, I remember off the top of my head, one individual who always had negativity throughout the entire day. We did a special removing negativity session, and that whole next day, they did not have one negative thought.
Yeah. I
And
know that's an issue for a lot of people.
yes, yes. So, um, if we can handle people who are, people come to us and are open, who may not be so open because of their negativity, of their mental illness, their past experience, their trauma, whatever. I don't have to talk to them about the depth of the ocean. I just talk to them about getting rid of some of their stress. I talk to them from the level from where they're coming from and meet them at that level. And they see the first session seems to be to confirm in their own mind, yes, this is worthwhile. I want to continue. I do feel better.
Yeah,
Uh, and so,
that's remarkable.
yeah. So as a
So,
psychiatrist, I certainly don't want to cause anxiety. I don't want to cause a feeling of discomfort or people kind of wanting to run away or not get involved. You talk about DET in a way that seems attractive. If it's just to get rid of stress or just to relax you.
I think you have from all of the experiences that you have had that you are uh, really good at uh, forming a rapport with people and helping them feel at ease.
Rapport is very important. Rapport is important for everyone. Uh, but certainly in this whole DET program, rapport is important. Yes.
So
So
what do you think? Um, I know this is probably a difficult question, but what do you think is the possibility that people have mental illness or that they have other than trauma? What makes them to be that way?
so this will be the last question. So I'll answer it very briefly. So I've seen quite a few bipolar clients, and in my clinical experience, I don't even think we're going to use that diagnosis in the future. Because to me, it's just layer upon layer upon layer of stress and blockages and issues. And you just wipe clean those issues and the mood swings and the lack of self-control and the huge inability to regulate your life falls away quickly. So in mental illness, I am extremely optimistic. I actually left psychiatry to just do DET because it's much more effective than medication and psychotherapy combined. Much, much more effective. Much more effective.
Oh,
But
that's good
um,
to know.
I look forward to our next video,
Yes.
Trina.
Okay.
And so thank you very much for this interview and asking all these wonderful questions.
And I thank you. I appreciate your insights too. This is very revealing, and I think this will help in the ultimate book that we create or you create. It will help people understand and bring them to you.
Very good. Thank you,
But
Trina.
a lot of people don't know that this is even possible or available.
Exactly. Exactly. Sooner or later, people will know about it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, so will we? I'll kind of stop the meeting and then I'll let it buffer. And then, do you want to call me when you wanted to talk about another subject? Okay, I'll be here. Thank you. Good meeting.